Lewis Capaldi. Everything is wrong. I mean, the guy wears quarter-length zip-up hoodies and a white t-shirt. And that 1980s He-Man and the Masters of the Universe haircut is not the one. No offense, but he looks like Paul McCartney's had sex with a McCain's potato snack, and yet he's one of the most popular artists on the face of the planet, with over 24 million monthly listeners on Spotify and 20 million social media followers. The guy clearly knows what he's doing. The problem is I see so many aspiring artists emulating him and trying to copy what he does, only to drastically fail. So what is it that we can learn from the world's most unorthodox pop star? Well, firstly is his self-awareness. He knows his strengths and he knows his weaknesses. He's not pretending to be anything that he's not. The problem here is what he is normal. And normal should strike fear into the heart of any artist. As an artist, you are a leader. You are someone who stands for something. And let's face it, no one looks out the window and sees a bunch of people who are normal and says, wow, I aspire to those people. And so therefore, being a normal person is very different to being a normal artist. His clothes, his hair, in fact, his entire presence is normal. Some might say boring. It lacks aspiration. Now, for anyone who thinks this is a good idea, this is a horrible idea on the whole. Why? Because you are now fighting in the deepest end of the pool with the most amount of competition, because everyone who is normal is fighting in that pool. If an artist ever says to me, the great thing about me is I'm just like everyone else, I think, well, you're screwed. You don't stand for something. But Lewis Capaldi can pull that off. Number two, he's genuinely a funny person. In fact, he's very self-deprecating. Now, would I recommend this for an artist? Never in a million years. And why? Because this is one of the toughest things to do. To say, I'm an artist, I'm a leader, I'm an authority, I stand for something, and yet I'm incredibly funny. Usually, when an artist tries to be funny and self-deprecating, it comes across as pretentious and too cringy. And being funny now and again is one thing, but trying to be the clown, the funny guy, and at the same time sing heartfelt ballads, that is a tough ask. But the reason why he pulls this off is because he is genuinely a very funny person. So therefore, he doesn't have to try. He's just being himself. Number three, he doesn't overthink. Now, this is something I wish I could put across to every single artist about their social media. He's quite happy to just go live. He's quite happy to make a story. He's quite happy to make any piece of content. He's quite happy to just pick up a guitar and sing part of his songs. He's not thinking about that perfectionism. He's not thinking about what that will come across like. He just thinks, yeah, that'd be a nice thing to do. That'll be a fun thing to do. Let me do it right now. And he can knock things out so fast because he's willing to just go for it. Now, I think that there is actually a specific technical reason why this actually works, because it's not as simple as just going live or doing things when you feel like it. It's because of the high-end and low-end production, which is balancing each other out. For example, if you are at the Brit Awards and then you take a picture of your food, now it's got a different context to you taking a picture of your food. If in one story he's playing in front of 50,000 people and then in the very next story he's just wandering down the street chatting to his phone, you've got the yin and the yang. You've got something which is aspirational, then you've got something where you are behind the scenes, you are right with him. And that high-end production versus the low-end production, or even the high-end context versus the low-end context, balances each other out very, very well. Number four, he takes you behind the curtain. Now, we've all heard about behind the scenes, but Lewis Capaldi does this better than anybody I have ever seen. If Lewis Capaldi is on tour, you are on tour with him. If Lewis Capaldi is at the Brit Awards, you are at the Brit Awards with him. You are feeling exactly what he is feeling, and he makes sure to take you with him at all times. Now, what's great about this as social media is he gets to answer all of these questions that we want to know. What's the food like at the Brit Awards? Or what's it like backstage at a big talk show? What does his hotel room look like? What does his tour bus look like? Well, all you've got to do is hit that follow button and he will take you with him and answer all of those questions. Now, that's a difference between attention, of bringing people in, and retention. People are going to stay because they want those answers. Number five, he fully understands and utilizes all aspects of social media. Now, he probably has got a social media team, but you can't fake this. Trust me, I know this is part of my job. When you get brought in to work with an artist and the artist says, I don't want to have anything to do with it, just make it good, the first thing I think is, I can't. I need you. You're the face. I need you to do the thing. I can maybe cut things up. I can make macro into micro. I can give you ideas. but I need you. The difference between him and other artists is he knows that, and he will lead from the front on the ground. He is just at home making a 10-second story or a 20-second TikTok or a 3-minute live session or even tweeting some of his followers. To him, this is just different games that he can pick up and play at any point of the day. But it all comes under the umbrella of looking after his followers, looking after his community, which means he doesn't have to do the same thing every single day, which I think most artists feel that they need that routine because of the burnout, because of the anxiety, because they don't know what to do and it's not creative enough. And he says, I don't know what I'm going to do, but whatever I do, I'll make sure that it'll be fun, interesting, and I'll be looking after people. Number 6, he is consistent, and it must be really, really tough to play the clown, especially now that he's worth millions and everyone knows who he is and what he is capable of. He still plays the clown. He doesn't have to tense the muscle because he is that version of himself, and therefore he knows that he has to take it to social media, he has to promote himself, he has to push himself out there time and time again. And whereas you feel with a lot of artists, they're being pushed by their managers, they're being pushed by their social media team, you feel like it's the opposite with Lewis Capaldi. It feels like he's pulling people along. He's the leader. He's saying, we're going to make this bigger and bigger, and I'm going to be at the forefront driving it, and that takes awesome consistency.
Guys, quick interruption. You're clearly releasing music and serious about getting results. So have you checked out DK Music Business Academy? It's got over 50 hours worth of courses, including the Roadmap to 1 Million Streams course. On top of that, you've got live sessions with me every single week and a community of like-minded musicians from all over the world. And as well as that, there's even my playlisting tool, Sonar, where you can get in touch with playlist curators when you're releasing music. What have you got to lose? 7-day free trial, links in the description. Let's crack on with the video.
Number 7, and a strategy that we don't talk about enough on this channel, is his lyrics. His lyrics are so underrated. He is vulnerable, he is relatable, he is simple, but at the same point, he is not trying to reinvent the wheel. They're effective, they do the job, they speak to someone's feelings, he makes someone understand. Many artists, especially aspiring artists, are too clever. They've been listening to too much Jeff Buckley, and all of a sudden, they have to make this masterpiece of a thesaurus. And he says, no, I just have to make you feel something with my lyrics, and he does it very, very well. Number 8, he is the underdog. And as we talked about earlier, in this market, he is in the deepest end of the pool. He has gone and said, I'm going to the hardest, most competitive part of the music industry, which is out and out pop music. And I don't look like Justin Bieber, and I don't look like Adele, and I don't look like Shawn Mendes, but I'm still going to take this on. And that makes him the underdog. He is the most likable pop star. After all, if you think about Bieber or Kanye or Ed Sheeran, there's plenty of people who love them, but there's plenty of people who dislike them. Whereas Lewis Capaldi, it's completely acceptable to have a soft spot because he's so likable. Because you look at him, he's no threat, and therefore he is the underdog, and he uses that to his advantage. You've got grown-ass men who are completely allowed to like Lewis Capaldi's out-and-out cheesy pop ballads. That has not been a thing for a long time. Number 9, he hasn't grown into the role. This one is really, really tough. As he's got more and more successful and more wealth, he hasn't changed. He still wears the quarter-length zippy-up hoodie, the white t-shirt, the slightly unwashed hair. He hasn't got a Lambo. In fact, he still lives with his mum and dad. There's no pretentiousness. He's humble. He's kind. He's there to look after his community by doing what he does best, which is entertaining them, which is making them laugh, making them cry, and making them feel something. And he turns up every single day to do his job. How tough must that be when you're looking at your bank account and you're getting told by everyone in the world how great you are, and you're invited all over the world on private jets, for you not to say, I'm busy now. He says, no, my community is so important. And that's when he will go back time and time again to look after people. And number 10, and this is the glue that pulls everything together. Okay, so he's not aspirational. He doesn't look like an out-and-out pop star like Justin Bieber. He is funny. He's self-deprecating. He'll take pictures in his pants, in his wife fronts. But he has a huge superpower. And that is, he is unbelievable. His talent is unbelievable. His voice is unbelievable. His songwriting is unbelievable. And because of that, everything else is acceptable. Stuff that I would never recommend to any artist as they're coming up. But because he's so real and because he's so talented, it all fuses together and works and makes him one of the biggest pop stars on the planet. Remember back when Conor McGregor was going around and doing some crazy stuff, all of the things that he said, all of the things that he did, why could he get away with that when other fighters couldn't? Yes, okay, he had that personality, but it wasn't just that. It was because he always won. He always pulled it off. He knew that when he went in there, he would win. And because of that, it made him into this superpower. Now, you can't be that cocky and that confident if you lose every 5 minutes. So therefore, his superpower was, I am confident, I'm cocky, but at the same point, I'll back it up. It shows when you have that much talent and that much ability to connect with people, then all of the rest of the stuff that would usually kill off the artists are accepted. After all, when would you ever see someone like Corey Taylor from Slipknot taking a picture in their Y fronts? When would you ever see a picture of Beyonce with 12 chins? All of that stuff would be damaging for most artists. And what's really interesting is every so often I'll be talking with an artist and they'll say, works for Lewis Capaldi, and it makes me shudder. And I just think, oh no. All of the stars have aligned for Lewis Capaldi to be where he is at. And I'm not saying that other artists aren't as talented, but there is so much that goes into this. And so I have this fear that it pains me when I see artists trying to replicate and then coming across really badly because it's so difficult to be that funny, that self-deprecating, and at the same point trying to be an artist and a leader. If you are going head to head with the biggest pop stars in the entire world and you look like that and you make those kind of self-deprecating jokes, you better be the world's biggest talent. And I can tell you why, because there's easier moves to play on the chessboard. I guess the biggest takeaway for me is when you are that talented and that likable, that forgives a lot of sins. You can do a lot of things that would kill off other artists and you can conquer the world in a very unorthodox way. So guys, I would urge you to go and check out Lewis Capaldi's socials, and if you haven't seen it, go and check out his new video, Forget Me, which is hilarious. It is an edit for edit copy of Wham's Club Tropicana. So funny. So if you haven't done it already, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, come and be a part of this community. Otherwise, take it easy, don't be too funny, and I'll see you soon.